Ready? Okay. Good afternoon. We're going to get started. Two clear agenda items, not a lot of subparts underneath it, just to make it easy for everybody. The two items were about our Alex Connects brown water reporting and item B, public safety updates. Rather than do long unpack, since I know you're all betting against me, we're just going to do a short A, and I gave myself till tomorrow. I hope I cost money to several people out there who said it was going to be not that way. So first thing I would say to folks that we are going to be changing a lot of how we do this, different avenues to get this out. We think that the Channel 4, which is hard to see anyway, the quality of the picture, all the challenges there and other things make it less than optimal, but it is still part of how the council reports and part of our requirements, so we'll do it, but we're also going to do some other things. So for example, on some days we might follow up this either before or after with a quick version of a minute or two of me just answering some direct question. It could be something from KLB, it could be something from the council, but more, pop, if you will, for those who want to look at something quick and move on, which is most of society. So look for some new ways, and then we can have some unpacked meetings for those who want to dive deeper or go into overdrive, whatever you want to call that. We can have people that want to do that, and we'll have that information. So one note in keeping with that is on May 20, 2025, KLB through Jay McCulley of KLB wrote what I thought was a very balanced article in view of the water issues we'll talk about today. I would encourage people to go back and look at that. You can go to KLB's website on or around May 20, 2025, and you can pick up both the article and the visual coverage that Mr. McCulley provided. That day, I think the agenda was a little deeper in terms of how many items we had or subparts listed. We talked about water discoloration and quality. We talked about neighborhood hydrants and directional intensive flushing, if you guys recall. We talked about additional public announcements and ways to make sure that you in the neighborhoods and you as council persons can let people know ahead of time. And we talked about, the fourth item was publication of future plans and how we intend to fix those issues that pertain to brown water, and that's what we'll be announcing today. So that was back at the end of May. It is 2 months later, and we are going to be telling you a little more specific. So let's go back to what it's all about. First things first for the council. I heard someone talking about bond ratings a while ago, and I would just tell you that you're going to see a lot of bond rating changes, especially for city councils that oversee enterprise funds, if you don't see adjustments to revenue needs and those kinds of things. And there'll be a lot more to say about that coming up. But if you have an enterprise fund, whether it's a utility or some other enterprise fund, we have the zoo is another one, and you are not providing for its employees being paid for and future maintenance and those things, you're going to see issues related to it. So that one wouldn't have a bond attached to it, but things of the overall city does. Their bond rating comes from their overall ability to schedule out and pay for the services and make for future capital needs of a city. We have a capital tax coming up. The council has been involved in those discussions. It is a pure renewal. Pure renewals get a lot of attention these days. In fact, if you look at how people respond to pure renewal, meaning no change, literally renewing the existing scheme as it is of how you fund and pay for the needs of the city. Scheme not being a bad word, scheme meaning the whole way it's set out, revenue for this. People are not renewing them. And I gave a talk about that a few months back, and I will just tell you again that that is no guarantee that calling something a renewal gets it renewed. As a matter of fact, it's not good chances that they get renewed. For Alexandria to not renew your general capital alimony will be catastrophic. And so we'll be talking about what that means just in terms of numbers. I don't have to politicize it or tell you to be for or against the tax. I can just show you, here's what it pays for, here's what doesn't happen when you don't do it. It's a real easy one. But there will be people against it, and those same people will be the same people asking you as a council for more services and why things aren't happening. So this is an unfortunate thing, and relates to my original comments about keeping things simple and quick and getting people's attention, reminding them, but somebody has to also do the unpacking of what this stuff really means and put that in a record if we don't do them. All right. So any plans that I give you today, boy, I hate to sound like the lawyer on you guys, but any plans I give you about things we're going to do are both rate and capital restricted. You know what that means, Mr. Fowler. They're rate and capital restricted. So I can tell you how to fix things from brown water to other things. They're capital and rate restricted, meaning unless you make investments in them as the council and rate maker, this is a suggestion of how you do it, but it costs money. And I will tell y'all again, I've had at least 3 citizens tell me, 2 in Alexandria and 1 out of town, I don't understand why government can't operate within its means. We don't need any taxes. You just need to operate within your means. I should have gotten more laughs than that. That was a good one. For those who don't understand, a government's means is taxes. And at the local level, this is a really clear thing. This is not complicated. That's how you pay for roads and all the different things that you do. You don't have to be pro or against, I'm against taxes. It's okay. There's a lot of conservative people who think there's way too many taxes, but they're okay with the local taxes that are the alimony for the things they need. Their roads, their sewer, those things. Okay. In addition to taxes, cities may have other utility or get payments from a utility. In our case, we have the utility. In other cities, they may get a payment from a utility for the cost to do business that adds extra revenue. For us, with the utility, there is a rate associated with it. And the rate is designed, in addition to the taxes, to pay for, as I said earlier, the employees associated with providing that service in some reasonable amount of future capital need. That's 2 parts of the rate. And the third part, Trey, is the rainy day. Something can go wrong. You've always got to program enough in a rate to do that. We're going to talk about water today. But I want to give you an example in your current gas structure that I think is worth talking about, just to give the council some idea. According to a city expert today who is providing us the required legal information that we have to solicit and give, so according to this expert, normally I wouldn't throw this out until I'd vetted it 200 times before I say it, but according to them, and they were very clear, if we were to receive our gas for free in the city, the gas that we use, that you have at home, that we pay for as a fuel for producing it, all the different reasons we have it, if we were to receive it for free, we don't have to pay for it. It gets transmitted here through pipes, and we don't pay. There's no such thing as that, by the way. But if that were the case, and you just applied the city rate on its gas, the rate, not the cost to get it here, not the cost associated with buying that amount of gas. So we're just talking the rate. For the citizens of Alexandria in our gas system, who wants to hazard a guess as to what that number would be? What is the revenue associated with the rate alone? Anybody? How much? No, well, that's you'll be closer than the other side of this equation. So let's call it somewhere, so I'm super careful since we're not giving you an exact number yet. They'll call it anywhere from 2 to 4, and we'll call it $3 million. If we took the same gas and bought it from the nearest gas provider, and they took over our system, same free gas, they now get it for free, and all they're going to charge is their rate. So that's anybody but Alexandria, closest to us. Anybody but Alexandria, closest to us, same free gas, only rate we're looking at. What's the cost of that for Alexandria? So we'll call that 10 to 13. If you're a council member and you are the rate maker, you should be concerned about that. Because the problem with our city is it's always on the mayor and the mayor staff and the administration, this issue. What's the mayor charging? The mayor doesn't charge anything, folks at home. The mayor follows an ordinance that the rate maker sets. The rate maker is the City of Alexandria City Council, not the mayor. The mayor's job, unfortunately, is to tell folks what things cost and what you have to do. So I would just ask everybody, if that's true what I just said, is it okay what we're doing? Do you think it can provide for the future needs of providing for future gas needs, fixing pipes, fixing transfer, fixing transmission in here or anything else? That's just gas. You think it gets better or worse for water and on down the line? So when we're asked to plan for brown water issues, I'm bringing this home for you, we have to plan for our rate structure to pay for the capital needs that address those issues. So all of the citizens, I can almost speak for them, not all, but many will just tell you, no change in rates, no change in taxes, we're not passing renewals either, but I won't deliver to my house what? Clean, clear water. I would say that somewhere in the middle of that is at least hopefully where you try to land, but there's a problem here. That's not going to work.
Water's free.
Yeah, so there is.
It's free, but you have to, it's free if you catch it in the sky, but
Yeah.
you're going to chlorinate and then deliver it to your house, timely manner and everything.
That's right.
else. That's what it costs.
So one of the council members is saying that lots of folks have the idea, well, water's free, it can be captured, there's plenty of it in a place like Louisiana, et cetera. That's all true, but it isn't free to get to your home. It isn't free to be transmitted, transferred, brought to your home. The portability of water has a price tag on it. Also, the safety of drinking it does. So the portability has a cost, the transfer, but more importantly and more expensively, in most cases, other utilities, not necessarily water, it's making it safe that has a huge price tag on it to drink. So when you add those things together, the portability of the water and the cost to make it safe to use and drink potable water, there is a price tag. Water's not free. And the idea that your current taxes pay for it as opposed to it being a utility would somehow, strangely enough, in our city mean that we would be the one city that everyone else you have to pay for it as a utility, but not here, which would make us non-competitive and unable to provide the service. It's relative to what it costs to do it. By the way, public bodies cannot give away things, and they especially can't do it in their enterprise funds, which are by law to be run, Mr. Gist, like a private industry would have to do. So these are things I've been over before. I'm not here to tell you what to pass or do. I'm not here to tell folks at home how they have to vote, but the facts are in. And we have that data, and it will be presented at CURE, all of it, by not us, but others. I haven't read it all, but I've seen enough to be alarmed. And to the extent the council members are unhappy that they feel I put them on Front Street just now by announcing their role in this, I did, and I'm not upset about doing it. And I am tired of, and so is this administration, being blamed for things that only the council can fix. Only the council can fix. It's not even up to us. The idea that we're making utilities do one thing or another. By the way, you heard me talk about water and gas a little. Your electric utility, also one of the cheapest. I'll be able to give you those numbers as well. So that's where we stand today. I can't help that the media won't report that, Mr. Fowler. I can't do anything about the fact that doing your homework, if you're in media, is simple on these issues. And you don't even have to use city. You can go get this from third parties. You don't need the city to back it up. In fact, I would suggest go get it from a different source. That information is simple. But I'll tell you who did it pretty right. His name is Jay McCulley, and you can go look at that on May 20, 2025. If you want to see that, it was not a pro-city report, but it just pointed out here's what the city says, where it is, and here's the third-party source it came from, and people can go dig and decide if they want more. So our plans are rate and capital constricted because of, I think, a good team, Ms. McGill's, that you and others lead, Marcus, all of you. The fact that we're rate and capital restricted, nonetheless, that expertise has gone a long way, Ms. Meyer and others. And so even with worry about capital future needs and worry about the revenue to support them, Mr. Cannella, I do feel that you couldn't do any better up to date than where this team has put the city, but that time is running out, Mr. Fowler. And I would suggest that when you get to the percentages I just gave you for gas, when you see some of these other things, you do run into a problem where the law requires certain minimal things for grants. You said it, Mr. Clark, bond ratings. We've been crushed from the rating I left this city with because of the decisions that were made. Yes, decisions that were made had consequences, not decisions by this administration. You'll be able to see the bond rating I left with in the utility and where we are. Luckily for us, still on our sales tax side, we're in a little better stead to talk about some of those capital projects that we have need to talk about. That could change too, because they all get interrelated at some point when you're not making the right moves. But sales taxes are up, folks at home and friends in the room. Sales taxes are up, and we're going to show you some great trends. My interviews with car dealers show that some of my bellwethers that I go to, and I'll publish all this, are at their 2019 numbers, their pre-COVID numbers. Some is deferred maintenance, so you see some new things being built. So I won't take, that can be because they needed to do that before. But if you're back to those numbers and climbing, that's a good sign. Annexation requests up. What does that mean? So just because, Jim, we turned down an annexation because of what it would cost us to provide the infrastructure, you still get to count what? That new neighborhoods contiguous to the city are asking to be annexed. So that's a positive. Whether you take them or not, you're going to get that in your tax base through sales tax. Okay? So those are up. New neighborhood, new development, all up. Not KLB, but others continue to confuse the idea that the closing of a single retail restaurant is somehow an indicator. So if all the restaurant starts are up and a single restaurant would decide to close and move somewhere else or open another nicer one, not sure how you would hardly cause that to be a concern for you guys, or call that a negative. That's a positive. But if you look at all the new Freddy's, Smalls, all the new things that are coming online that are different, those are indicators of health, not ill health. Also, just while we're addressing those, you had a situation with, I think, the closure of one of the, or several of the clinics. And I would just tell you, they gave you the reasoning. Had a huge saturation of that with Medicaid expansion, way overbuilt. The people in the industry know this. Media can go talk to them and get the truth. That is not an indicator of ill health. It's actually an indicator of the market correcting itself. Plus, there are tons still there. So that, again, that's not a sign. I will give all of our 5 indicators to the council at the next meeting or the next briefing and meeting as you wish, and you're going to see that in all 5 areas where we measure where the city is, we've got some good indicators out there. Why am I telling you this? Because I need you to go be cheerleaders about all the good that's happening here. We are focusing way too much on negative. We also will show you declines, much better in all crimes, property crime, homicide, violent crime, non-homicide. Those are all good indicators. Sales tax up, those things are trends moving in the right direction. All right. Why do we have brown water? Aging infrastructure and pipe corrosion, system maintenance repairs that are needed. We have fire hydrant operations that spread that around, as we've talked about. All of those things can lead to that. You have seasonal environmental factors. So what are seasonal environmental factors? You got to change a temperature in Alexandria, Louisiana that could be over a 24 or 48-hour period drastic, and believe it or not, that can affect through expansion and contraction of joints and different things. And we just happen to be, for better or for worse, in a place where that can happen. So all of those are things that I would tell everybody to be considering when you think about that. We've already talked about what you can do at home. We'll put that back out about how to properly run your faucets, how to properly do that. But we also want to spend our time talking about what the city needs to do in terms of helping with that. And so we have several means that we do that, infrastructure programs being the most important. You have some items on the agenda. You had one about some directional flushing that we had talked about, and I believe you have one on the valve exercise program tonight, which is number 17, item 17. Those are two different parts of how we would address brown water. So the unidirectional flushing in a direction of isolate and move it to one area is one way. The valve exercises is to go out and study, as we've told you about, where you might have cutoffs or dead ends that are happening where things can then collect, and then someone, lo and behold, goes back and says, this was shut off for a project, they cut it back on, and guess what gets pushed out? So all of those are ways that a city needs to make sure that it is running a proper program. There's new stuff, guys. There's things you can put in the potable water system, meaning the clean water system. There are things that can go in it that measure and look at things and have cameras and that can flow through and tell you a lot about what your issues are and where to maybe locate. But generally speaking, the way most cities have dealt with it is through these two methods where you both unidirectionally flush hard into an area and also make sure that you are not creating dead zones so that you can isolate where problems are. I suspect, Mr. Fowler, if you were to open up the 42s and some of these mains that we have, you're going to see some non-pretty things. It's going to be from iron, and it's going to be from iron pipes. And for those of you who are chemists and love to, you have a ferric or a ferrous, but you both are rust issues that are problems for us, and we are aware of that. But I will continue to maintain, and you can go Google it at home, with the exception of a tiny percent of problems in cities where you go measure that the iron elevations are such to be dangerous, they're just generally not dangerous. And that's just a universal statement you can make. Generally not dangerous. Aesthetically displeasing, smell displeasing, taste even too, can be very minerally, etc. But that's what the science says. And so, again, you can go to a third party for that information. You don't have to take Alexandria's word for it. You can go to who rates the water here and who measures all of those things. And you can go see the score that the city had on that. So, our point is not to make excuses about that. Our point is let's fix it anyway. Let's have beautiful water that's aesthetically pleasing. And so, you're going to have one of those opportunities to vote tonight on one of the ways to do that. We will also be unpacking this more to present other ways to do it. With the unidirectional flushing, I'll end on a little bit about how that works, just so you can get an idea of how seriously the city takes it and what you have to do. Imagine it's like your washing machine with agitation, right? You're literally going to be taking water and you're pushing it harder than normal into an area and then backflowing it back. You're literally agitating an area. You're purposefully knocking some of that rust out, if you will, so that then you can flush it out of the system. So each time we do that or run hydrants, which we do to keep that fire rating number 1, you can imagine what that does to the area. You can almost by clockwork know if you see them flushing fire hydrants, the folks in that immediate area, what do you think they're going to see that night and the next day? They're going to see some brown water. And so that's going to happen as a result of doing unidirectional flushing, but it has to be done. I don't know when the first part of the system was built in Alexandria, but I know the age of the city, and I can go back and look at some maps, and you can find historical pieces from those who follow it. But you're talking about stuff from 20s, 30s. You're talking about really old infrastructure. It's going to have rust corrosion. So will any other cities that have that age to them. The thing is to make sure that you're doing the types of programs to move that along. And so we are doing all of that, but it's all capital and rate dependent. The more you have in place to do that and have that system pay for itself, the better off we would ultimately be. So I will pick this up again tomorrow, and also the public safety items that we talked about a few weeks ago. I've covered some of the trends that are good and where we are, and hopefully we can continue to have that discussion, and it'll be informative for all of you. But you get a chance tonight on a vote to make a change about brown water. So I hope that will be an important vote. The unidirectional money came in, it was $1 million for the program to do that. I think we budgeted a quarter. So we're going to go back out one more time before we tell you to look at that, and we think that is high, but it gives you an idea of the expense for a city this size just to do that. And ultimately, no matter what we identify, you've got to replace pipes. There's no real clean out of, you can dislodge things, but what are in there, it's years. If you have a 48-inch, you could have that much of it. There could be only that much of that amount still free of everything. So you've got to really think about making a huge impact here. And we've got some ideas to do that with a capital program. And we hope that you will find that favorably as well. But we've got a specific way to address some of those needs. All right, thank you so much. And I will see you guys at council, and we will take this up tomorrow at 3:30.
Are you under the time?
3:30.
Are you under the time?
No, I went over.
No, I